Welcome, everybody, to Cosmic Ruh. My name is Aida Farhat, and I'll be hosting the show today. I have my special guests, Yssah, Sean, and Brian here today, and I'm excited to have all of you. We have a great show today. We're going to be discussing the artifacts that Sean and Yssah recently excavated and uncovered in Mexico. So this is going to be fun, and you guys, you're welcome. You can share screen if there's any photos that you want to share with the audience. That would be great. Brian, do you want to tell the audience? We'll just first off, throw out some shout outs and do a couple announcements, and then we'll move forward. Please, Brian.
Yeah, well, this is kind of all related because Yssah and Sean, as presenters at the 2024 Full Disclosure Now conference, got to meet Gustavo Medrano, a fellow presenter, and Gustavo is very familiar with the types of artifacts and stonework that Yssah and Sean will get to share with us about in a bit. But what's really exciting, and they'll get to tell us more about it, is Sean and Yssah, as you're saying, they got to meet up with Gustavo in Mexico to discover, yet more of these artifacts, and the videos and pictures that they've been sharing online have been mind-blowing. And I'm looking forward to having them back with us at the 2025 Full Disclosure Now conference with us, which you're Aida, the executive co-producer of, and along with Peter Luis Venero and Jaden Mills. It's you all are making this happen, because there's no way I could do this alone. And then I'd say if I had a right hand people, would be you all and Napoleon here. And so
wholeheartedly, Brian, we're
thank
in
you,
this together.
Heidi.
Yes,
that's right. And so fulldisclosuremovement.org to get tickets for this upcoming July. Tickets are already moving, and of course we are going to have a live stream going and a post-conference recording, but we really encourage you all to be there with us. It's magical. Right there on the water.
And the link for that is below on the banner. Buy early bird ticket, and that ends on the 31st of January. So I encourage everybody to get your tickets while they're at a discounted rate. We will be raising the price. Of course, this is a huge expense that Brian is kindly and generously putting up so that we can have this. So we need support from everybody. Share it out. Let people know the conference is going on. There's a platform, a place. There's like-hearted, like-minded people. We all need to be there so that we can create magic together and co-create New Earth. It's up to us, and I can't say that enough. So, Brian, thank you for your contribution to humanity, and Yssah and Sean. Everybody is doing their part. So,
thank you. And we had an amazing first conference, and because it was so wonderful, where everyone is coming back and they're bringing their friends, and more people are finding out about us on multiple platforms. And so we're expecting triple to quadruple the number of attendees this year, which is going to be wild.
We have new speakers. We have
James Bartley coming over from Australia. We got Susan Long. Hey, Susan, she'll be there as well and presenting. Yep.
Susan, and then we have Miles Johnson coming back. We have a secret. We're not going to mention him yet. Brian and I will be meeting with him again in February, but if we are able to work it out, we are going to have somebody absolutely amazing that most of you that watch this show, and definitely some of the others, would be familiar with. And so we'll announce that once we finalize it. But Brian and I are very optimistic and excited to be able to get this person over here. Excuse me just for a minute, guys. I have sweet potatoes in the oven, and I'll be right back. Brian, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, please, Sean, Yssah, Yssah, Sean, why don't you both tell us about your Indiana Jones modern day adventures with Gustavo Medrano, and maybe if you can hold up any of what you brought back, because I got to see it.
Well, sure. Did we want to mention the conference? Rion, throw a shout out to Rion.
Yeah, that's right. In this coming in March, coming up very soon. We've got Team Light with Rion de Rouen. A lot of you are familiar with Morning Coffee with him. And we're all going to be there. Yssah is going to be presenting during the main part of the event. And then that's a Saturday and Sunday, I believe. And then there's a Monday and Tuesday. It's kind of his after party event. And I'll be presenting that Monday as well. And for more information, I'll have to look up the link and I'll give it a shout out. Do you guys know the link? Is it teamlight.com? I think you go to teamlight.com and then from there you click for the event to get.
It's Team Light and it's in Sedona and it is on the 29th and 30th of March. Both Yssah and Sean will be presenting again. Brian will be presenting after the main conference. And if you go on the website, which I can't share here, but I can just go to the Team Light website and everything is there for lodging and transportation from the airport and so forth. So we want to show our support to Rion. Rion will also be presenting at our 2025 Full Disclosure Now conference. So he'll be there this year also, right, Brian?
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Yep, and I just put the link up there for the Team Light store for tickets to the Rise of the Guardians conference.
Okay, good. Very good. Yep. Thank you for doing that.
Of course.
Yes. Okay, so back to beautiful Yssah and Sean. You guys tell us all about what happened. Give us from the beginning to the end. I have questions for you, but
are we able to screen share so we can bring up the video?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, Brian, do you tell me how to do that?
Yeah, the way you do it is for you because this is your stream.
Yeah, I've got it because I have StreamYard, so it's okay.
You can do it. You can make it share. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm still learning, guys.
Yes, and thank you for everything that you said about the Full Disclosure Now conference and also Rise of the Guardians, because we are growing this network that actually allows for us to become stronger. As in unity we thrive. So I'm so blessed by this beautiful community that we are creating and so excited for what is about to come. This is only the beginning. So
this is only the beginning. Yes. That's right. It's going to get
join us.
Huge.
It's very exciting.
It's going to be so much fun.
Transcendental experience. Yes. Your life won't be the same and you will have fun. As Aida said.
That's right.
So well, we're going to show some slides I just want to say as an intro, as Brian was mentioning, we had the opportunity to go there and undig the artifacts by ourselves, which is an experience, it's a sublime experience, because you're uncovering layers and layers of what is representative to the unconscious collective, those layers of hidden information as those layers of earth that are uncovering those artifacts. And for me, it was removing those layers was seeing how we are removing these layers from the egregores, and reaching out to the core of the truth of what has been there always waiting for us to unveil. And it's here now. So the first images that we are going to show are on some videos. So
just to
can I just ask this one question? It might give some perspective and keep us. This first question is: can you walk us through the discovery of these artifacts near to the pyramid in Mexico? How did the location and depth of the finds under the tree roots influence your interpretation of their significance? And what unique features of the artifacts? Do you want to share details about that?
Sure. The tools are located, we're located, and most of the artifacts that are now coming to exposure are in Tula, in Mexico. And Tula is mainly known for an archaeological site where the Atlanteans are. These huge structures of beings that are very spatial-like and carrying handbags, those famous handbags. And they are guarding something. So what is hidden, what is behind them is what they are guarding. So the place that we were taken to is close by. And now there are many, as I was saying, many artifacts that are being found in that area and all over Mexico. But, like this is the area where we were taken to. And we can see that you can find artifacts related to the classic, pre-classic or post-classic period of the Toltecs, which is the main culture that was there, as well as the Mayan. And then you find the kind of artifacts that we need, which are you can perceive, you can see, you can experience, and even test how they belong, how they are even older. You will see the type, even though it's made in the same stone, which is limestone, and treated in the same way, yet the carving is exactly. Yes. Beautiful, Brian. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's nice, Brian. Where'd you get that at? Where'd you get that, Brian?
Our friends Joshua Sisler and Anthony Mickle, they go down to that region, and with the blessings of the locals in the area, they excavate some of these and curate them and share them at the conferences. And now they're doing presentations and getting to a more global audience because the people of that region want this information shared with the world.
Sure. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And that's also very remarkable of Gustavo and all the people there in Tula. They really want to put out this information, in comparison to other people and also before, that this was to be kept, very, very secretly. And now they are going fully disclosure. And that's something outstanding, and they're creating museums. So bottom line, besides what Sean wants to share, the place where we were taken to is a place that is normally known for, even they did a documentary there, a famous documentary, and they undug very specific pieces as well. So we turned on.
You know the name of the documentary, Yssah, by any chance?
No, but I can ask my friend who showed it to me, and then write it in the comments, after the show.
Sure, yeah, that'd be lovely.
Watch it for sure. Yes. Yeah. And people has brought in this documentary, they brought, devices to detect like metal detectors and many other to scan and so forth. And we used our inner scanner, which was also very beautiful because we tuned into very important pieces, and that as you have seen, they are some of them very Egyptian-like, and other ones as the one that Brian just showed. So we did among all of us a very beautiful alchemy that made this possible, because they were even very surprised to have found, this amount of pieces in such a short amount of time. So that's also how we can know that we have such power in our biology that we can activate, and everything that we see in the artifacts outside or devices that are used technologically are inspired in our own biology.
Yes.
So,
as they say, it's written in the stars, right? And we uncover it through our own self-reflection and internal guide. We uncover.
And is it because are you talking about, like, when you're saying our biology, are you talking about like there's a lot of imagery of genetics and the sperm fertilizing the egg, or the pregnant female form and things like that.
Well, yes, and yet what I'm mainly referring to right now is in our DNA, there is information of the whole universe.
That's
And
what
we
I
are
was.
capable to connect to the space memory network through our plasma field. Then we receive images. We remember what was did, how our body functions, where, because all of that information is already in our DNA, yet it is dormant. So it's about activating it. Yes, yes.
Can I just say something, Yssah?
Sure.
What you're saying is fascinating to me. You guys know that I use my Galaxy G1, right? My eyewear. And it was right, I think, like a couple days after you guys came forward saying that you had found, discovered these artifacts and so forth. And the universe is my witness. I was in between sleep state, and I could see like little people. They look, I was thinking like, not cavemen, but I was thinking Australia for whatever reason. I was thinking that's what I was seeing in my mind's eye when I was in this in between state. And then I knew that I was coming out of it, and I was trying to keep myself in it because I had started to wake up, and I was trying to pierce through and see. And then I start thinking about the artifacts that you guys, so I got a visual of like not cavemen, but I don't even know what you would call them. These people, ancient, sitting around with rocks. That's all I saw, and I woke up. So I don't know, and maybe something from looking at the artifacts may have ignited something in me. But yeah, I didn't.
Sure.
It didn't last long. I tried, but I couldn't stay in that state. I ended up waking myself up out of it. But it's true. It's in our DNA. That's correct.
You can track and scan in which part of your DNA it ignited, and go to the quantum field and scan in which part of your DNA, and then put more energy on that for it to unfold. But for instance, that was just one example, but we have pyramidal neurons. We have a pyramid in the lower part of our rib cage, like just below our rib cage. We have a pyramid. Like you can see the images of our muscles, our bones, and you will see the image of a pyramid there. So that's where the word pyramid comes. One of the connotations. Pira, fire, meets center, the fire in the center. And we are a reflection of the stars, and the stars are aligned to these ancient sites. So therefore, the plasma in our body is connected to the plasma in the stars, and therefore to the ancient sites. So about the image that Brian showed right now with the mother, which is beautiful, for me it is showing the connection to the primordial matrix before the artificial matrix was created, which I do believe that it's also something very important for us to do, because we have an anchor, unless we are aware of that, through our navel to the artificial matrix. So if we detach from it and connect to that primordial source, that primordial field, actually, then it's easier for us to connect with the space memory network.
Well, so that's interesting you say that, and I'll just respond. So, and Sean, you've mentioned this, I think, in years ago when I first had discussions with you about a cord that is connected to all of us into the plasmic field, into the, right? Do you remember what I'm talking about? I know I heard it from you, Sean. It's like a cord that attaches us to the primordial field, or if you want to call it our higher self. I don't like to say higher self. I think everything is soul self. But do you know what I'm referring to, Sean?
Probably. There's a quantum entanglement between all photons in existence. So all parts and pieces of yourself have threads entangled with them. there's a silver cord attached to the body that
silver cord. That's it. So I was going to say gold. Silver cord. I remember you say
attaches to the soul and spirit that goes into spirit form and out of body experiences. And then there's the tree of all spirit and soul that connects back to all your incarnations and simultaneously incarnating branches of the tree of yourself that then goes back to the tree of all consciousness and existence. So all,
yeah, it's like
I've been listening to you for many years, Sean. So
I got to
that stick out. Go ahead.
I have to ask you too. So because I saw some of the videos of your team digging and excavating these amazing things. How do you dig and not? Or what happened? Are you just digging away and then you hear a chunk, or are you literally at the toothbrush level, brushing away dirt slowly, centimeter by centimeter, to find what you're looking for? How does that work?
Both. It's not just us digging, so others have their own method.
Right.
They're pretty gentle. There's pickaxes and shovels and things to get through the dirt. When they start seeing rocks and stuff, they soften up their efforts, and then they see if it's a discoloration, if it's easy to move, dig around it, and then we get to a really gentle level when it's confirmed as a object that's different than a regular rock. So can you see this?
No, we can't. Now, okay. Now it's pulling up. There you go. Now it's finally pulled up.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So here's
a colored one. I haven't seen many like that. All the ones I see aren't green like that. Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know if among the rare stones that glow under UV light and the depiction of the gray ET with the staff, which artifact do you find most compelling, and what does it suggest about the possible connection to extraterrestrial civilizations? Sorry, I needed to get that question in because that's what I was just witnessing. Did you hear the question, or do you want me to repeat it? I think it.
Do you want her to repeat it?
Yeah, I heard you. I like objects based on what I tune into them psionically in power level. I have a lofty goals to help this reality, so I gotta get to a high level. The pyramids we got and found. This is the underside of the pyramid, which we'll show in a bit. And we also we got a portal that are found in the same place. Those are the most powerful ones we found. We're still making them sacred and clearing them and stuff. And once they do, they're going to power up and emit various types of spatial energy.
Sean,
look at that pyramid.
Here's the pyramid.
What you just showed us was the bottom of that pyramid?
Yes.
Wow. And then can we focus on this piece, because you're speaking of it. You're talking about, a lot of people who are excavating these wonderful artifacts. They don't necessarily.
Who has the artifact? Who's kept these?
We have it. Did you? We have it actually. Well, the pyramid, we have it, and most of the artifacts are actually heading to a place that will later on be showing them as a museum.
Excellent.
It's a private museum for people, so that people can connect with them, see them, tune into them, and receive from all those upgrades, because that's the main purpose of doing this, to reach people, so that people can remember through these artifacts. I'm going to stop showing a screen, and you were asking me about I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, the reason why is because the vast majority of people out there who are excavating these things, they don't know what they really mean or what they really are, because they don't necessarily have the ability to connect with the entities and the beings, the energies behind them. So at the point where we've got you two and you're speaking of these things like, oh yeah, we're just going to activate this and we're, clearing it and blah, blah, blah. What is it that you're clearing? And then what is it going to do? And what is the symbolism all over that stuff? And, I'm looking at it, I'm seeing like the Babylonian and Sumerian, like wristwatch motif on that one on the bottom of that pyramid. And then obviously the pyramid, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, like Illuminati with a capstone, and maybe it could be illumination like before it was distorted and taken over and tarnished by the wannabe elites. So if you could speak to like, what does that pyramid tell you? What information are you getting from it? How are you getting that information?
Continue on that.
All very
Okay,
good
well,
questions.
you were asking about like the most powerful pieces. For me, this is one of them. Another one is a green template that I showed. That is a huge DNA activator, and also one scepter that I showed in some of the images. But now that we have the pyramid here and the portal that Sean mentioned, that's super powerful, super powerful. But it needs to be cleansed. So, for instance, you said something as well very important, Brian. Information is just information. We give the purpose to it and used it on our convenience or however we choose to. So, for instance, this pyramid, this is just one of several pyramids with the same purpose. Because, of course, yesterday we had a show with Mike Forrest, who is also doing a remarkable work on all of this, putting pieces together. And then he has pyramids himself as well. So, but there are pyramids like this one, not the same engravings, but, with the same purpose.
Much different.
Because these
has little notches in it, and they house 2 rings.
Yeah, I'm just really curious how. So you guys found all of this, and was able to figure that
so there's activation rings, so they help you communicate.
I mean, that's mind blowing what you found.
Yes, it activates, and it activates in a very specific way through the rings. Now, if we know the purpose of rings is time.
Are you guys going to disappear if you both put them on at the same time?
I don't know.
What's going to happen? Put them on, guys.
We're still clearing it because it's
okay.
A lot of things coming at it.
But that is so, yeah. I'm blown away that you guys found the rings, the pyramid, the cap, the whole bit. Like, it's mind blowing, guys. That's huge. That is huge.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's like a complete set. Like,
I'm
only
so
13,000 years old, fresh out of the box.
Okay, yeah. That's
so
a good
what does it
question.
do? What does it do, guys? What does it do?
So this we're still clearing it to make it so that it turns on. It feels safe enough. As most generators in the body or sacred objects, the more safe they feel, the more energy they emit. All these objects are emitting different types of energy. I've categorized them, and I'll name them off for you. This pyramid interaction with a lot of spatial tech. So what that does in totality, the pyramid is probably one of the more powerful objects, as well as the portal, which we'll likely show you. The rings, we're getting like a big thing. Like this pyramid into itself is ancient and powerful enough to where it's like a regular big size pyramid in itself when it's at full power. It can go to a high, like there's spirits in it that would expand out to beyond the ultraverse in its protective role. Like a lot of pyramids do this in their sacred space. If they're protected enough, they can expand, and they have the territory, and they manage things, and they make the world, the galaxy better.
Do you feel any buzzing or electricity coming off of that? Sitting by it? Yeah, that's amazing.
In our show with Mike
right now.
in our show with Mike, he has e-meters and like different electromagnetic frequency and radio signal meters, and they'll go off next to these objects really strongly.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And they emit a bunch of rare energy, which I can go into the various types. And like we're gonna show a video on like our sacred ceremony, but the ceremonies are very powerful and important. They make it so the earth opens up to you more. When we get to the place, there's a bunch of spirits around the place. They didn't trust many people. They were very skeptical. We did what we needed to scan what they wanted and what they needed to trust us. As we did a lot of that in the mega ceremony, then a lot of them approved of things, and they started allowing us to see. And then we used psychic tracking to find, and like, oh, there's one over there and one over there, and there's one near that tree.
They helped you find, right? They helped you find the objects that normally people would just be like, let's dig over there, let's dig over there. But through the ceremonies and connecting with the spirits, the energies, letting them know your higher vibration intention, then they feel safe. And then those who have the gifts of sight, they're like, okay, here we are.
I want to come over there so bad. Yssah, I am definitely coming to visit. I know that you have extended that invitation, and I kindly accept. When I get in a position to come over, I definitely want. I feel like being close to that. I'm really in awe right now. I saw the picture with Sean with the pyramid, but I didn't know that the cap came off and you had rings to it, and it's just mind blowing. I mean, I don't really know all kinds of things are like kind of going around in my brain right now about
yes, and you know, as we were saying, the ceremony is fundamental, because then you're showing the level of sacredness and the space that you're coming from, and also the space from which you will be receiving the artifacts. Because if you don't that, then most of the artifacts become like energetically really dense and pulsing, vibrating in a very negative way. So for instance, and now we didn't experience this, even though we are clearing some of the objects, but you can definitely see the difference and feel the difference in the artifacts when you receive it, when you receive it them in your hands, even by undigging them, because it's a relationship that you're creating with these artifacts from the very beginning before undigging them. You know, you're already creating a relationship with the space in which you are at, and all those.
We're listening, Yssah. We're just, I'm. Yeah, this is amazing. Wow, you guys, thank you so much for what you're doing. Yeah, it's amazing. Oh boy.
So the amplification ceremony made it so it came up on a radar where the items are more than likely. The first ended up being this pyramid, but deep in, and had a few other objects near it. And we just took a while to get to it. To the place for the obelisk and the jade point, and we found like a UFO disc thing under roots, and that broke through the ego like strongly, because before I would think like, oh yeah, I'd see these artifacts, like maybe they're real, maybe they're fake, but being there, digging it up, it feels like a whole matrix just disintegrated off me, of like, and can't say they're not real anymore. And so that opens up like this whole vast thing of what is the past to us, and it like Egypt and Mexico next, and all these.
Can you mute the video or just pause the video? It's kind of muting you guys out.
Yeah. Okay. So
I felt totally connected to
What do you say about this?
when he
Okay.
was, yeah.
well, what we were saying is that, for instance, you can even see the shell that he's blowing is the shape of the heart, you know, and that was used big time in all these ceremonies and continues to be used. You know, it's the shape of the heart vortex. So you are blowing the echo of the heart. And as the cacao used also in a lot of ceremonies, it expands the heart chakra. And for instance, in relation to the...
What do you say about this piece?
I'm sorry, before going elsewhere, for instance, when you were asking for the purpose of the pyramid, what I tune into is, as I was saying, this is just one of several pyramids that when you interconnect them or when you put them together and activate them, they connect to very specific star systems. And yeah, it's used in a very specific way. And it is calling in that connection to the stars, and it's quite connected also to interdimensional travel, very connected to interdimensional travel. And as we see in this, which is the bottom of the pyramid, we see these two beings that are...
There's another picture that's better at this.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
There,
this one.
zoomed in.
if you see these two beings, which represent one, and like there are two rings, so each being represents one of the rings, and when they come together, intercrossing their hands, they create another circle, which is only the two rings together can open this. And there is much more information, but some of it cannot. It's not. It has a very specific timing, to say it somehow.
It's got cuneiform on it too.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
When you say it's got specific timing on it, are you saying there has to be a certain vibration or energy there, or is this like a cosmic, like until like the year 2030, it's not going to activate? Like, what do you mean by?
Oh, we're gonna try to activate.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Each one of them needs to be activated one by one, and then they are meant to come together as other
Link.
artifacts, like as cubes and other tablets that
How about
Gustavo brought
crystal skulls.
I'm sorry, what did you ask?
How about crystal skulls? Do they
They had
interact?
crystal skulls. Yeah,
Yeah.
they had a nice one. I'll put a picture.
Yeah, like,
up so you can tune into it.
And as well as the third.
You guys found crystal skulls
Crystal
as well?
skulls.
Is that what you just said, Sean?
Yeah, our friend does, and they're really they're really powerful. So and they're heavy. So I'll send the pictures to you, and then we can bring them up on the chat.
Okay, sure.
That is absolutely mind blowing.
And each one of these Sumerian or cuneiform letters or symbols actually are vibrating, and they are alive. And this starts to rotate like circles, like counterclockwise, clockwise, or this horizontally goes anti-clockwise, whereas this one goes clockwise, and they are interlocked to one another. So it's all about motion. The key is in motion and activating it through the very same plasma that they are showing. Like you see the planets here, they are pointing out to a very specific star system. And there is a correlation, of course. For instance, we could say that this is Orion's belt and this is Saturn, or it could also be another planet with rings. However, for me, they are pointing out for us to restore a very specific connection beyond the distortion to Saturn, because in the virus is the key to the antidote. So for me, a lot of these artifacts will shift the time control system that has been created through Saturn.
Because a lot of people say that in the occult. Oh,
What just happened?
Go ahead. Can you see?
I can
Why-
hear you. Can you
Why
hear
are you
me?
guys not on the screen?
I don't
Why
know.
is
Oh, we're
it-
not on the screen. What happened?
Well, here, what Ida, while you figure out getting us back on the screen, I guess.
Yeah, weird things happen
Huh.
when we are showing these devices.
Can you hear us? See us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We see you, but I'm the only one on the screen. I don't want to be the one on the screen. I want you guys on there.
Like below, there should be like a thing that makes you.
Yeah.
Present?
Well, anyway, they can hear it, so we'll keep talking while you figure that out, getting us on the
Okay,
screen.
I don't know how to figure
So
that
it's
out.
okay.
Share screen.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but let me keep. We'll keep the show going.
Below the windows, there are a bunch of boxes of
Yep.
screens. Try pressing different ones.
For
Okay, so Brian,
a lot of people have,
Is
a lot
this-
of people in our community through studying the occult have remarked that apparently we have this Saturnian energy that has been distorted, and then that energy is being beamed down here at us on Earth. So then what you're saying is pyramids like this, it's showing imagery of Saturn and Orion's belt, but not to magnify the distortion, but to instead connect with Saturn and Orion's belt and to heal the energy.
Exactly. Yes. Because all these artifacts, the purpose, well, most of them, is to give upgrades. And when we're talking about upgrades, we're talking about restoring our multidimensional nature to its present state. So, and they did also these artifacts to convey a message. So if we know how to read it, then we are capable to start remembering more things instead of being guided by the story that has been already written about something that is not true. Because that's what we do when we don't remember by ourselves.
Yeah, you can bring up the video.
No.
Earth is like a remedy zone of a melting pot of all these places in the multiverse. Most of them have a bunch of problems, and they came here to make a super hybrid of over 10,000 species, the human experiment, that has an antidote for evil. And then on Earth, which is a jewel and a lot of treasures and power and divinity school, to resolve most of those places. So there's big drama places. Like all the planets in their solar system are some of the most dramatic planets ever. They like in times of war, they've kicked some ass and they have destroyed things, even Earth. So there's a dark side to each one of the planets, but also a light side, which is the empowerment of the individuals that are incarnating in the multiple realms, billions realms, each one, light, dark, and neutral. Saturn, same. Saturn's doing a lot. There, I'd say the connotations interacting with, being called Satan and, the Lord of the Rings and the Princess Darkness. That I'd say, somewhat true, but without him in the solar system, there would have been more planets that have been destroyed. So he's protecting from a lot of darkness. He crosses 90% of the darkness. There's a lot to do with him. He's also got a lot more heaven realms than most places. He used to be a star and then fell. There's a lot, and he's kind of insane. He's mostly from fracturing and being split apart by like holding and quarantining some of the biggest predators that invade the solar system. So I give some credence, but like retrograde with Saturn, like he's distributing the darkness to those that it's their darkness. With Orion, there's everyone knows about the Orion Wars, like Star Wars, big bunch of battles, all these different species, time wars up the ass, like big ball of hairball of timelines and paradoxes. The leading wound that affects most of the reality, also the Lyran invasion by the Draco, prompted a lot more into the Orion War, which would get a lot of the light beings incarnating in like reptoid races to get their soul family that was stolen and captured and devoured during the invasions. There's a lot to resolve with Orion. It symbolically represents micro, macro, as above, so below, like with Osiris, and especially with the boxing in of Osiris in the coffin, represented by a advanced matrix boxing around Orion, the splitting of the parts of Osiris going into the lack of wholeness, the plan to revive Osiris as Horus, and that going into this new plan of remedy on Earth to then go back to resolve Orion. And the three Giza pyramids, Great Pyramid, and its two nearby, represent Orion's belt, and they link to it, and they both correspond with each other in how well the other's doing. And the pyramid grids here are supposed to connect with different star systems to be a relay, a stargate for souls to ferry over, as well as a remedy point, a control panel that upgrades and interacts with many beings and does many things for the planet and the surrounding area, but also heals Orion. So there's one of the big missions on Earth for a lot of soul groups is to heal Orion, Lyra, resolve Draco, resolve all the things.
Okay, I'm starting. Yeah, Sean.
Well, here,
thank you.
let me talk about what Sean was saying a bit here, because with the pyramids in Giza and many pyramids around the world lined up like that in the Orion's Belt formation, I'm told is it's not only to connect with that constellation from Earth, but it's also was the former Draco, Orion, Siakar empires way of basically tagging or marking the Earth as part of their domain. And so, but that's from an Orion empire I guess viewpoint. But I guess another viewpoint would be, what's that?
Their chess move. It's multiple groups programming a thing for a purpose, and so it's like a tug of war in what way it goes.
Yeah, and
they're fighting for it.
Yes, and I do believe that a key is also Orion's Nebula, because that is related to the sword of Osiris, or his phallus, which is the one that was taken away, which is the sovereignty. So in Orion's Nebula, there is actually a lot of the things that, I'm sorry, because the screen went out. Okay, so in Orion's Nebula, there is the key to what has inspired Orion's War. There is a lot of information. There are a lot of artifacts that are actually fighting for that part of Orion.
Because in Egyptian mythology, they say that Osiris was chopped up into like 13 different pieces, and
14.
Sekhmet was able to recover, or Hathor, I forget, was able to recover all the pieces except for his phallus, which is then has a lot of symbolism and obviously in representation there.
I'd like to say something. I know the Dracos don't have a phallus at all.
Some do. They call it a Pindar. Depends on the race, I believe.
There's Alpha Draconis, Beta, Deltas, and there's many hybrid versions of them that go to different planets to interact with their atmosphere, and they have a lot of hybridization programs. So some of them can't
I'm
breathe,
talking about the
have
actual Draco, Anunnaki, Draco reptilians do not have phalluses. I know that for sure. They do not.
Well,
they
don't.
They don't.
I don't know.
Well,
and I can share. It's very personal and sacred, but I could share more about that, and I won't do that right now. I'm going to wait to be able to share for that.
But this is very interesting what you say, because it unites like what Brian is saying, what you're saying, what Sean is saying, what I am saying, because that's why they encoded so much important in the phallus,
Exactly.
whether
That's right.
whether to look like or not to look like.
Well, they call it a
And
pindar. Like a lizard, a
Yeah,
reptile
they use-
phallus is called a pindar, isn't it? And they call their
I'll
their
share.
leaders, they call pindars as like the head phallus. And so I've heard of that terminology being used before.
90% would
that's
have to
the,
clone each other.
That's the what's the word I want to use? That is it's almost like the arrow of the injection of the masculine into the feminine. They use this symbol of having power, intellectual power over, but they do not have actual phalluses. They use, I'll just say,
Like a cod piece.
They use a
well,
it's a thing that they put on, and it's through the energy of the penetration
cod
into
piece?
the female.
So he's a prosthetic. They
causes-
use a prosthetic.
something along those lines. I have full memory.
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
and in this part in the Orion's Nebula, the Mesoamerican ancient civilizations connect that to Xibalba, and Xibalba is known as this gateway. Quite in the Egyptian correlation would be the halls of Amenti, which is the place where you go after being incubated in the artificial matrix. And this is connected to the 12 wormholes in the earth that are leading to the Earth's black hole. And this information of the Earth's black hole will be proved in the following years. And that's how a lot of spaceships go through the volcanoes, come all the way to the surface from the volcanoes and exit them. And because they have bases there, and then they interconnect to the Earth's black hole. But the important thing here about Orion's Nebula is because when it interconnects with Orion's belt, it creates precisely a T, or a dragonfly, like a sort of dragonfly, and the T is interconnected to actually the axis for us to go beyond the two simulated doors and exit this artificial matrix beyond the dome, So, and they would talk about Xibalba as these 9 consciousnesses that are very hardcore, but they're related to 9 steps of illumination in order to actually be capable to exit this reality, this artificial matrix.
Because Yssah, when you're talking about the firmament, a lot of psychics and people talk about the firmament. What I'm understanding is it's like not an actual, necessarily a physical hard dome over the earth, but it's like a soul trap type of thing. And
It's like a mesh,
escape
Brian.
out of that, to escape out of that mesh, you have to vibrate. It's a high enough level of vibration and go through that gateway would be one potential way of exiting this matrix, is what you're saying?
Yes. For instance, how I see it, you can do it like physically through tech, like how they do, because as far as I remember and experience it, the gateway to Earth is through Orion. That's why it's so important. And then you access through the Earth's warm black hole, and then going through the layers of the Earth. You can go to outer space by crossing, let's say, the different layers of the atmosphere, like the stratosphere and so forth. However, you will only access to the same area that is contained by the dome as well. That's why, for instance, as far as I'm concerned, they talk about traveling through the space rockets through planets, but when it comes to very specific constellations, the information is quite diffusive about that. What?
Take it off.
Okay.
What? Take what off?
What's that Mexican someone doing there? Yeah, and this dome or this mesh was represented. You can see it in many ancient depictions. Not only Mayan, also the Egyptian, also Peruvian. In many ancient cosmologies, you see this veil. That can be at a cosmic scale be related to the veil of Isis, and which was inspired in Elena Blavatsky masterpiece.
Yes. Madame Blavatsky, are you talking about her?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I need to get her book. I need to read her book. Have you read it?
I have it. I'm sorry, what?
I haven't gotten it yet. So there's been no scientific analysis or authentication.
Yeah, there has.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, there has. Mike did a lot.
asking.
He did yeah. Mike did a lot. He has gotten a lot of pieces from Tula and a few other places. They did carbon dating tests on the adhesive between the objects being put together of like indicating times when they were made. He got readings back, some going from 1,000 years old, some going to 10,000, some going to 19,000 years old.
Wow.
And even done ones on fake ones, which were like 20, 50 years old. So the fake ones, which are being reproduced by the mafia, unfortunately. So there are fake ones to look out for, but these are
the ones you guys have found are authentic and real.
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
we dug them out.
Yeah. We have proof to that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
the
wanted to
material-
make sure that we specified that because people will be listening and we don't want them, people getting confused.
Not only do they have video here, but like our friends like Mike Forrest, like I know he said a lot of some of this stuff, others of this nature, not this exact stuff got carbon dated already, but stuff that's already been excavated from that region has been found to be up to 18,000 years old. And so,
yes.
that already, and then, I have to ask you when after you did that ceremony, this are the spirits or the energy, who or what and how are they guiding you to say dig here? Are you like getting through your third eye vision, like do you see a spirit being like with a pickaxe standing by the tree, or like what does that look like?
So third eye, empathic ability, heart field amplified, sensing into the data around in psychic sculpting after years of practicing the ability, pointing to consciousness and presences, then seeing a bunch of them, little kind of like ghost beings attached to things that go down to the earth, and being like, oh, okay, there are objects and their spirits anchored to the objects. They're observing things. They're doing a bunch. I can start monitoring what they're doing, what they want.
So Sean, basically, you see ghost beings. You see ghost beings, and they're like, dig here.
Yeah, and then I give a psych profile. Then I go into adding like what do they want for the goals, and then they have goals and intentions, and they want caretakers. So it's like they're picking parents to be incarnated as from Earth, birthing to the surface, and who's a good caretaker to help them achieve their goals. Like this pyramid, which was one of the first ones that I tuned into where it was, and like we got to that place and kept digging. It was we got the video.
And that makes
You're
sense.
amazing,
It's the most
Sean.
powerful
both
one.
Both of you, Yssah, you both are amazing. I'm so delighted. So much is going through my head about all this, and I hope you guys bring maybe the pyramid. I don't know if you're gonna turn that back over to the museum or wherever, but maybe bring it for the conference. I mean, I think that
We're
would be
making
Some of
amazing.
this
them
to
stuff,
have
you
on
don't risk
stage
any
and-
of it.
Yeah,
Right.
Internationally, no.
They-
no.
Yeah,
they
because
say-
it's just too heavy.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
huge.
it's
It's
too
gonna be a
heavy.
lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No.
For
Wishful
me, for
thinking, huh?
instance,
These
for
are
me, for
objects of
instance,
power. It's,
I'm sorry, what?
I was just saying, it's interesting that the most powerful object, the pyramid, is an object that seems to have guided you or that you found first. And then in terms of the intentionality, like that parenthood type of thing of birthing these things and bringing them to the surface, and what kind of life are they going to live with you? A lot of the people in our community, like Joshua Shapiro, speaking about interacting with crystal skulls, they describe a very similar kind of process and vibration, where the skulls, they have their own goals and things that they want to accomplish. What is our new friend here? What do they want to accomplish? What do you get from that piece right there?
If you want to go a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'll finish with the same question. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, for me, it's how I tune into them is I listen to them. I feel their field calling me and communicating with me. So then I just anchor the energy and I start holding the space for the pieces to appear, and then pointing out as well to very specific points where I know they are. And
Is it you get visions and like your eyes are closed and you get visions, or do you feel like a pull? Like, I mean, for those of us who aren't as activated, I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, you've done this ceremony, you're standing there, there's sacred ground that you've cleared, and there's trees over here, and Sean says he found the pyramid, so there was something that made you decide to like stick the pickaxe right X marks the spot.
yes, for me, when about the obelisk and other things that are there, it was the field. I didn't. Sometimes I have visions. Yet this was was more about not the certainty of the energy calling me to go there. And well, actually, yes, it's also vision, because it's by command. If right now I just close my eyes and go full scan into that part of the earth, I can see that there are things. And the place where they found also several artifacts where I was pointing to, like the dagger and the obelisk, and it is this beautiful guy. They had already given up on that area, and I said, no, there are still more things, and there are still more things that will be found there. So and when I saw, I thought it was a cube, so I was almost fainting, because as this pyramid, there are cubes that need to be put together in order to restore a lot of the distortion that has been put on the usage of other
You mean like
cubes.
it's like the way pyramids, they can all fit like a puzzle together to form like a cube, and that's almost like what we're talking about here. How they need to assemble, or they can just like be sitting and like activated spiritually.
In this case is more about the rings, and they are connected to a very specific constellation, because the rings also show the very specific pattern of the DNA in our mitochondria, and a very specific bonding that our DNA can do, which is called the catenan. So this, when we talk about interdimensional travel, is our DNA that is aligning in this very specific structure, and all the DNA in our mitochondria activating to its full potency, which is not 37 genes. It is actually 805 genes. Can you imagine how many genes are deactivated in our mitochondria, which holds big part of our galactic DNA? So therefore, when the information, the glyphs fully activates and starts to move. So when these come together with the other pyramids, then, and there are also Yeah, then a huge gateway to a very specific constellation, and the codes that free the encoding of this matrix, they free from that artificial imprint and restore the primordial matrix, because that's the purpose that was given by very specific galactic species to break through the the accurate algorithm in the time system to go beyond the Gregorian calendar and other control systems. So yeah.
Fantastic information you just shared, Yssah. I would imagine that if we were running at 800 and something, if all of that was activated, we would combust. We would not be able to be in this reality running fully activated in that way.
We will
but
be
I would
light
imagine in the higher, I'm sorry?
We would be light bodies. Actually, our
Well,
DNA is
light
meant
body, yeah.
to go plasma fluid, you know,
Sure.
to its construction, like the tetrahedron star that you have in Cosmic Ruh. You know,
Yeah.
when our DNA goes to its plasma fluid upgrade, then instead of, when you do an intersection, instead of showing a decagon, it starts to show like tetrahedrons coming
Remarkable.
together. And then
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
But what I've had my light body fully activated. I've stepped out of my body, walked around my apartment, so forth and so on. And I guess what I'm
I'm talking about you glowing. I'm talking about
I know that, but we glow. There are gatekeepers that see you glowing, and then there's an issue. There's you get targeted and all this other stuff, which I experienced. But I'm talking about you wouldn't be able to. I don't know, depending on what dimension that you are operating from, you would be able to maintain the plasmic body or the light body. The 3D is too dense. It wouldn't be able to maintain. I mean, that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, right now, no, but actually that's why everything is being encouraged to move to what we call the fifth density, which is actually just shifting the perception and actually being capable to see what you were saying that other beings see. For instance, I have had the opportunity to have been visited by these light beings in this third density when I was a kid, and also in Egypt, in Sinai. And I was not the only one that saw them. There was
I believe you wholeheartedly. I've experienced. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. I'm listening to you, so my mind is like, I'm just honestly, I really am absolutely taken back by what you guys have found, the ancient history of them, the engraving on the different artifacts, and what does that mean? I mean,
let's talk about the specific. Ida, let's ask him, what is that figurine for, Sean, that you stuck on top of the pyramid?
Yeah, and going into the previous question, and then going into that, vision, draw, pull in the heart towards the direction. If approved, there's like spirits that will nudge you and point, and then it goes into your as light in your third eye to indicate, and kind of narrowing down and psychic tracking of what it's allowed. There's going to be camouflage on the objects if they don't approve, and sometimes if they don't approve, you may not find anything at all. Like Earth shifts around like a hologram to where those that aren't approved don't find things. So there's a whole bunch of magic that goes into that have been written down in books, been able to reverse engineer a lot of that. So it amplifies towards, if you get good at this stuff, you can become a good luck charm in treasure hunting. And the guy there said he almost cried from how many they found in that day we were with them, as opposed to other days.
They already gave up that spot of land, you said. And Isha's like, oh no, there's more there too.
Yeah.
Well, even in Montauk, Sean was amazing in being able to step into areas of portals and pick up information. I mean, he really is gifted in this way, guys. Sean Bond.
We can all learn
thank
psychic
you.
tracking. I teach
Yeah,
it. Everyone can learn it. It's really fun ability. I love it.
Yeah.
And then we were only there for 3 hours because we got there late. So they found so many objects. So if you need a good luck charm, call upon us for treasure hunting. For the objects, what
I'm
they do.
coming over there. I want to excavate with you guys. I'm going to make
Sure,
it happen.
Sure.
I would love to come and do that with you guys and just be present and feeling the energy and the frequency. So Brian asked you, what does that little man, that little object, what does that mean? I mean, what is
this
it?
guy glows. This glows. This glows in the dark with UV light, which we'll show you the video of. Each one of these objects has different stuff that's good at, and as we've tuned into it. This one, we have a theory that we've categorized 3 different sections: artifacts made by ETs themselves, one's artifacts that are made by the generations later on of ETs that bred with humans, and then humans that observe the ETs and venerate what they saw. And so the objects are like, if they go back to ETs, they're way more powerful. But even when they're venerated, which this one's a veneration. So of an ET that was seen as I scan into it, it has soul aspects to the artist that made it, and the ET that has to do with what was seen being worshipped. It does have high level capabilities. It has 5 god body level tech with it of superpowers, emotional radio based telepathy, longevity. So they live long. It has a powerful plasma body, has teleportation capabilities, generated energy, kind of like manipulation, and a type of ancient old source, like before galaxy, universe, all that, in the gut brain type of energy generated, used to access the hologram of light splitting infinitely, like a computer, which was interesting to read. And I don't know how else to define that. Rare etheric energy creation manipulation, which I barely run into any humans that are. They don't know what ether is. They don't know how to differentiate it. They don't know where it's generated. It also has, and this one generates right now. It's opening up more and more as it becomes safe. It's generating a ton of mental energy and etheric energy right now. So it gives upgrades to people that want to trade with it. It also produces mana, in like the energy for magic in creation and control. It has a cool ability I didn't know existed until I read it off this statue, which is out of phase storage. This is based on an ET that exists, the entanglement with the ET. It doesn't want me to share what's going on with the ET, but the species still exists. They're on Earth, underground. Some are dead, some are alive, some are in stasis. And it had the ability to store objects out of phase in a field nearby it and then take them out of storage. It also has interdimensional resonance travel to locate themselves elsewhere. It's like bilocating, but it's a different method. It has spatial place connection, so it can connect 2 places of space with a gateway. And so that's like some of the things it does. And I've been telepathically, I've been tracking back the being associated with it and its species. And they're interesting. They're nice. They're more neutral. They involved in time travel. They added their genetics to us. They see us as a garden to cultivate that they both want to help us, and which also helps their species. We're like the cure to them. They had a thing where it's similar to other gray races, but there's over 4,000 types of gray, like dark and neutral. This is more of the positive one. They seem to be more amplifying things, and they have trouble with fertility, and so they're trying to resolve that and increase their numbers. But they have longevity, so they can be around for a while.
That's amazing, Sean, because like for any like archaeologists or just even try to figure out a hundredth of what you just laid out from your scanning it and connecting with it and communicating with it, you know, and other beings and objects, you know, that's, you're never going to, you know, other people are just like trying to figure it out. So that's pretty amazing. How about the obelisk?
The obelisk, so show it. Okay, so it's got this spirit-like grayish ET. Seems to be different than the others.
Another
This one's
Saturn image.
a winged one.
Yeah.
So
This has also red
triangle.
red fluorescence, which is very rare.
Yeah,
you know, green and red fluorescence.
Yeah, and UV light. It has spatial connection. It's right now it's currently emitting physical portal energy because it is found with the portal, which we'll show you. It links to things. The portal itself connects to like 14 places, and we're gonna see how it's like linked up as a ancient, I'm thinking, made by ET's window and communication hub system. Did you want to talk about this one? And then we'll name the things we tune into each object.
Yeah, and actually along with the portal that we will show, each one of these symbols, of these glyphs, is an activator for that portal. So if you know how to combine them precisely, then you get to activate it because the portal itself has glyphs in the inner circle or inner structure of it. So it combines, and you do it holographically. You put them together, and then you can send telepathic longitudinal waves and then projecting those glyphs to come together and combine them, and also use a very specific light. It can be sunlight or it can be an intent laser to direct it to a very specific part, and then, you know, create that portal. So it's all here, you know, the purpose.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, I don't know if I missed it. I had to step away for Prince for a minute. But what do you think is causing them to glow? What is it that's causing the artifacts to glow? Those that do, why would that be?
Because they have powder of a very specific stone that actually Mike was showing to us yesterday.
Color ones.
So it's pulverized, it's powdered, and then it's compacted with the limestone or with other crystals. But also this type of limestone is treated in a very specific way. Because, for instance, the limestone that you find in Egypt is it has more pores. This has pores as well. However, it's more compacted. So they were using a very specific technique to shift the molecular state of the limestone and compress it. So,
and his theories on it. His theories on it.
You guys know how old that one? How old is that? Do you know?
The carbon dating done on the objects are from 1,000, 10,000, 18,000 to 19,000.
But that specific one, do you know?
We don't. Carbon dating is like $400. We're gonna get into it eventually, so we will.
Maybe we could raise some money.
Also
you guys who could do it.
You gotta find the right person too, because they're censoring this stuff. If you don't want it for the right person,
it's about doing alliances.
Yeah. And the portal, as far as I've been able to see, it can connect to 14 places. Each are like the 9 planets colonies with the specific race that made the portal. And then there's, you know, more than just 8 planets in our solar system, including the dwarf ones that have colonies on them.
For instance, we see this being that has like a mirror tail, you know, and
it's
you
like
will
a naga.
A lot. It would be like a naga, or also an expression of a genie, a jinn.
Oh,
you
jinn.
know?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do believe that actually these are the founders, and then the other species came as hybrids of this.
Well, it's been
no,
said.
I'm not talking
and
about the
Sean-
mare, but
yeah.
the genes,
Yeah.
mainly.
But Sean, maybe you'll. It's been said that the reptilian race was here before the human race on planet Earth. Would you agree with that?
There's a time travel war over the origins and the first civilizations of Earth. So
And the Jinn
not
have
the
been here,
first.
or the Jinn have been here longer than them. Longer.
I love the questions. This is my
Sorry.
personal perspective, so feel free to take it with a grain of salt. There's a time travel war. A bunch of species are going back to the origins of Earth and setting up a base and then claiming to be the first race. So if you look at the multiple timelines, there's a bunch of founder races and angelics, I would, as higher dimensional light beings that are some of the first races that were involved in making Earth. And then the time travel races, a bunch of them came in and set up shop, and then they're part of it, but then also Earth's a trap for their remedy. And the Jinn, as far as I can tell, they're ancient. There's many different types elementally. They have their own realm. They have various places they can interact with. They're beyond just fire beings. They're light, dark, and neutral. Most of the ones that have been brought here have been dominated, so they're a little pissed off and they don't like humans. Most of the ones immigrated here came from Sirius, but they are more ancient than the universe, and there are multiple versions of them that even will have the consciousness to hold and contain and create realms.
Yeah, actually, even the Islam, if you read the Quran, how they refer to the jinns is like this type of founders that were before human arrived, and that's why they are defending those spaces and not allowing the humans to reach very specific places.
They're different than devils, which is its own species as well.
Yes. I've had an experience with the Jinn. I had a Jinn underneath my chandelier in my apartment. It was a very thick smoke, and it was confirmed by Simon Parks that it absolutely was a Jinn. Of course, there were black magicians sending my way, but I looked at it and I'm like, I see you. Like, what are you doing here? And then I left and came back and dealt with a bunch of stuff after that. But
there's a lot of negative.
They observe and try to create havoc for people, and
a way
able to get rid of it. Yeah.
A way that they used to trap it, like with the code of the magic lamp, is a way that you can get
brass
to
vessels.
Compress that, and also in your brain.
Brass. Yeah.
Because the shape of the lamp, of the magic lamp, you can overlap it in your brain, and the energetic flow going from your facial chakra all the way to actually your chin, So it is a very specific form of initiation in relation to how to really command your energy. And that's one thing. And besides, why would you want to have a unit trap? But it's related to the manifestation and actually knowing what to want to manifest and manifest it, impressively. But that people were initiated that way to trap them.
There's different types, categories, ranks, colors, origins, elemental types. Things that what they think in the humans. A lot of the old ones. There's a lot of like shaitan, which are the dark, evilish ones that have been trapped in objects and dominated by humans and anchored to places and objects as like a protector, guardian, kind of watchdog. And they are violent and they don't like humans. So I'd recommend staying away from those unless you have a bunch of abilities to resolve them, like me, which I can help you if you deal with that, or possession or anything like that.
I feel like I handled my business pretty well at the time.
Yeah, I'm saying the audience.
I haven't been.
Not you.
I also was going through a huge initiate. I mean, I know this. I was repeating a ritual that I did in a past life and compounded it. And it was part of my initiation, yes, and so forth. So, which I've shared some of that with you, Sean, and years ago, but
yeah, I'm
not
talking
going
to you.
to
I'm talking about audience.
I'm sorry?
So you want to talk about what you...
I want to talk about
Yeah, maybe get closer to the camera.
That
and
is so
say what you
amazing.
think.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
Smiling face.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
even
very
look at the
happy.
shape of the head and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah.
those are.
As different gray species of something.
Like common stream archaeologists would attribute this to a specific practice that they would do to modify the structure of the brain, like the shape of the brain.
I know.
But you cannot really get your skull to elongate, the mass of your skull to elongate through those practices, of course. And this is evidently an elongated skull, like the ones in Paracas, so, and other types found also in Mexico and in Egypt and so forth. So my experience with this beautiful being is that it's a hybrid of Syrian and human, and that actually it helps a lot to activate a very specific part in the brain that unfolds a serpent. It's related to the cerebellum.
Kundalini? Is that the Kundalini? We're different.
It's different because it is a serpentine. Well, it's actually energy, as we know how the energy moves, but it comes from the cerebellum. It comes from the tree of life that is represented in the cerebellum. And then actually it would be the tree of knowledge, so then makes that energetic flow to supercoil as the DNA does. And you can see this shape of the serpent doing that supercoil pattern in ancient depictions of the priests when they used helmets to not, well, for different purposes. One was for shielding, another one was for creating very specific networks of manifestation and interconnecting with the pyramids and so forth. So yeah, this one enables this big time.
And going more into it, we believe this is the third type, which is made by a witnesser of this type of being. It seems to be hitting a drum, so it might have engaged with the people physically in like ceremony and music. We're reading that, there will be a connection with Sirius, but the species has come here and made home, so they're on planet. Some, again, to not give away things for the beings' respect. Some of them are alive, some of them are dead, some of them are in stasis. They're waiting for a big event on the surface, something to do with our greater disclosure to interact with people. So a lot of them are here for purposes to resolve their species. The things that this gives off is a rare type of they like 4 types of spatial abilities, like spatial place connect, spatial invisibility, energy manipulation. It got longevity. This one's emitting some type of rare shielding from the gut brain. It's like it emits, and it's like connected to their star system's version of prime creator of source, branching and anchoring to the place.
And also interdimensional travel, but in a very specific way. It's a tech that I hadn't tuned into, and I'm still tuning into it. But it goes precisely with that supercoil that I was mentioning to you, that you can generate in between both of your brain hemispheres, and then because then you are enchanting the cerebellum in relation to the reptilian brain. So all the power of the cerebellum, you're capable to supercoil it. And if we see what the cerebellum is in charge of, well, it is a lot related to precisely the motor systems and so forth.
I have a question now that you just mentioned the reptilian brain. Sean, what is your thoughts about, so prior to the war from the Dracos completely abolishing and the Lyran star system, the planet of the Lyrans, the Lyrans. When do you think that humanity was hybridized with the reptilian brain? When did that happen? When the hybridization program started with creating these humanoid bodies so that reptilians could could incarnate in human bodies, like the first, because I know Simon Parks mentions that Mary Magdalene was used as she was picked to bring in a hybridized child, and I think that's when the actual reptilian and mammalian came together. That's just my thoughts.
Oh, nice question. Cool theory. And
am I at least in the right direction?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah, there'll be each of the organs of our body have an origin with different races that like first came up with them in existence, and different energy reality constructs of blueprints and residual image and purpose, and then they eventually culminated to us. So the reptoid brain, a lot around the invasion of Lyra, experimentation, as well as in Orion, as well as with the Anunnaki and their super hybrid experiments. So there's different iterations of it, different purposes. The reptilian brain has powerful things in it, but it also has a lot of drama and blocks and limitation and matrices. The ego has a bunch of matrices into itself because it's the main center of the ego, which is the container of what we need to ascend from. It contains and quarantines what's projected onto reality and limitation, allows an anchor for it, but then with that anchor allows you to build yourself stronger in manifestation, in the downward spiral manifestation as opposed to upward spiral in freedom towards spirit. The ego, if you get it to like you, it protects you, and it's part of the lower self, and it's like I've gone into this and show, it's like the serpent of the Orphic egg. The egg is your divinity and shining bright to be birthed, and the serpent can either not like you and then squeeze the egg, or it can like you and protect you so the divinity gets stronger and shines. It's like through the uniting of the lower self with the higher self. But not a lot of people do that.
That explanation, Sean.
People
it's got the positive aspect and the negative aspects.
Yes. Well, that's part of the lower nature, is ascending out of the lower nature into the higher, and the heart into the crown chakra, into our what people would refer to as higher self. That's why I say it's our soul self. Once you've done that, you let go of the lower nature, the first three chakras, which some suggest is an implant, and there's many. I mean, I've heard George Cavallo speak to this, Dr. Amir speak to this. Other people speak to this that I hold in high esteem, that the chakras were implanted in order for manipulation and control. We have other power centers in our body, the octaves of our body, rather than that we are able to collapse all chakras into the heart center, which would be here, right? Which Yssah was speaking to in our when you came on last time. I forgot what you called it, but it's the crossing of the
it's the axis tilt, and we are to align.
That's it.
We are required to align our heart to go beyond the axis tilt that it has, because as the earth is aligned, and it has a deviation to our left. So when we align our heart energetically to the true north, then we're also aligning our brain hemispheres. And in relation to the cerebellum, there is an implant, a physical implant that I have tuned into, and I have images about it, but they have removed most of the information. And it's the endorestiform nucleus, and it's only in the left part of the cerebellum, not in the right. And that is when you get to understand about the tree of knowledge and what they were referring to, because this would be actually the feminine, because it's already in the cerebellum. If it was in the brain hemispheres, then it would be the masculine, but it's already in the cerebellum. So the cross section of the
So is that are you saying on the right side or the left side?
Yes, on the left, because perhaps
left, okay.
it's but as it is in the cerebellum, it is already after the cross section of the creative part of the feminine to the feminine, So
Nice.
anyway, yeah, and
I
and
love this conversation. I could
Yeah.
talk to you guys all day. I mean,
So
there's so much to uncover and remember and rediscover about ourselves and our abilities and all that we have been gifted with from, I would say, from the mother energy that is here and present now. Many of us are tapping into and inviting more of it into our lives. I think it's so important. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. It's a service and a selfless act to take your time and go out and make these connections. And I appreciate you so much. I want you both to know that. And yeah,
that's it. Come to Mexico.
Yes, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come.
Yeah.
I'm going to. I'm gonna make it happen. It'll happen. I'll come. We'll know the perfect time for me to be there. A lot, yeah. Brian, do you guys have any more questions? We are at 3:48, guys. We've been going almost 2 hours. Is there anything?
Go into the objects fully?
Yeah. I want the one that you've been holding up at the very least. I want to know what is that?
Sure.
So this guy, looks like it was used as an athame, which is a spiritual dagger, not used for sacrifice. It makes it, if blood touches athames, they make them useless. So it's not a sacrificial.
It's pure. It's a pure.
Yeah, it's meant to like cut cords and open doorways and portals and stuff.
It's like a wand in a way. It's like a way a wand is like a dagger in a way.
Right. The first energy, when we made it more sacred, it started emitting, is this rare, which I when I tune into it, it looks like this species is connected to the liver, not like the origin of the liver, but one of the older species that has used the liver. It has liver chi shields. So it's like friends that I know, like the liver will hurt, and like I tune into it's like your auric field is being penetrated or tested, and there's like
is it being like holding its liver?
The liver has this electromagnetic field that goes around.
Like when on that statue right there, it looks like the being itself is holding its own liver.
I don't know if what it's holding.
That's not where the liver is.
Can you put it up and turn it towards the?
It seems like one of the hands would be covering the liver.
Just a little bit
maybe
farther so that they can see the full.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's got a third eye with a pyramid and wind kind of interaction. So it goes into its magic. It has a reality bubble magic, which it's emitting. So that's the thing that people can trade it for right now. It will open up more as we clear it. It's got this DNA library that's huge. It's got a connection to over 18 galaxies worth of knowledge, and it allows in access to it to unfold into the conscious mind in knowingness for people. It also has this, some people don't fully understand what dragons are, but like they're elemental management hired by planets, and they take on many forms, not just the reptoid form. They don't need a body.
They're ancient guardian beings. It's like the Dracos are a fallen version or a diminished version in some ways.
Exactly. They're a founder race. They're older than the universe. Many planets make them. So this has their own form of dragon that goes into reality interaction aspect of themselves as like a control panel. So those are the things that does. And for people, it's a little easier to find these. They can find these circle stones, which is like flint in like places where crop circles are made, and they're empowered quite a bit. This one has interactions with the species in the ship that has a consciousness. So it has things that can upgrade in teleportation and levity. Some of the, if you want to find the really rare, nice circle stones.
Yeah.
Now this one is a less ancient one, which is a clay, probably Toltec or Aztec or something, and it goes to a representation of a deity.
The feminine aspect of which is the ancient one.
It's emitting divine feminine energy towards wisdom and intuition. So if you want to get upgrades with that, you can trade. I don't recommend worshiping idols or objects.
Marquis said you deserve a million more viewers. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, I just want to say something because I do believe it's important on this. We see the shape that this is doing. When we interconnect these points, shoulder, elbow, and wrist, they create the Pythagorean theorem, which is a triangle, both of the sides, and they intersect precisely in the heart. We know that there is a lot of information of the heart sacrifices and so forth, because even there are depictions that are showing aliens, like literally aliens, then a man placed or a human placed in lying on a floor, and a priest behind, like receiving the information of the alien and guiding the ceremony. However, this not forcefully represents a literal extraction of the heart. We know about energetic surgeries, that there was actually a very famous shaman here in Mexico, that Pachita, and a very renowned quantum physicist, Jacobo Greenberg, did a research on her, and she would be doing energetic surgeries. Like literally, he as a scientist documented all of this. You can find it in YouTube, where she would manifest a new heart, extract the one that was unhealthy, and put again the healthy one, and suturate her. But like even brain surgeries, and there is all the evidence. So again, I do believe that these were also for energetic surgeries, among everything. And the thing is that the material that they are made of, when it is charged, it brings the energy, cosmic energy, and it's actually easier to do these procedures,
To give an example, I was being a shaman for somebody that hasn't taken mushrooms before, and I was holding space with one of my athame, and we're outside in the sun, and they're feeling overwhelmed with stuff. So I started taking my knife, and from maybe 10-15 feet away, while they're on a blanket, I would sit in a chair and I tune into their strings of attachment and then start cutting them. And then they started having an orgasm and screaming I'm like, oh my God, I have neighbors, please. It's like you can, if you get rid of enough of
that's the most pure source energy you can have is.
Yeah, detachment is the way to enlightenment.
That's amazing.
It allows the light to feel safe enough to shine from the heart, so you can get rid of all those layers of heaviness, take it off of those weighted coats, and it feels great to where you're like,
that's awesome, Sean.
So when you run into one of this, it's multiple purpose, including achieving huge levels of pleasure, right?
Yeah. Here's the first object we found on the dig. It's a little cup of clay. Definitely less ancient. I'd say it's like venerating the site a little bit. It's got these two, what I assume are deities on it. One that's like skullish, one that's humanoid with a large nose and some long hair. And I read the first thing that's coming out of it. I'm reading there's more that will unfold out of these objects. currently it's holding something that I didn't know existed, chi permeance. Permeance I use as an ability to where it's like changing the rotational speed of the atoms and the energy field, so that anything that's like attacking you just passes right through you. It can't attach to you at all. It doesn't affect you. Or like greater permeance levels where you can pass through walls. This has chi permeance. That's usually a root chakra ability, but this one's from the solar plexus chi version of it, which is cool. And I'll tune into that more as we unfold it. This one, which I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe
Looks
a
like
serpent head or something.
Yes.
Might be Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a serpent head, crocodile or something.
Yeah,
Very nice teeth.
You can let us know what you think. But the energy this one's emitting is rain-making energy. So it can amplify your ability to bring rain, which was very important to the Mayan, Aztec, and Toltec. A lot of their pyramids were built around that being one of the concepts. Though
if you listen to Dan Winters at all,
like a lot of the pyramids.
he mentions rain-making from the gods often. I don't know if you're familiar with Dan Winters, Sean, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They
oh
also
yeah, that's right. You guys, that's
artificial
right.
lakes. They also created artificial lakes. The Mayan, a lot of the lakes that they had are artificially made. So that's also because also the water as a superconductor. This is the portal.
I never seen one of those before. So is the idea that spiritual beings can travel through that? Is that the deal?
There's God, if you can point out from your end, there's a being winged. There's a being with a head and winged. Yeah, this is one.
Well, that's interesting. The shape of the portal. It's six.
Pattern.
It's six. Yes.
Yes, there is a connection.
Why do you think that specific shape, Sean?
I don't know. Bees have it. A lot of things in nature have it. The cells of the body have it. I wouldn't associate it with any negative thing. It's a foundation of creation. This portal connects to all the planets, the 9 planets plus like 4 more at least. So, and I read it has to do with these beings. This seems to be the first category of objects, which is made by ETs itself. And it connects to their colonies through the solar system.
Yeah, here it is showing actually, and I'm going to, of course, it connects to many things, but then again, everything is connected. And I do believe this is very important to mention, because if we are disclosing a lot of information, I do believe that we need to upgrade as well the information on the planets and the true purpose of them. Mostly, if something so powerful like time has been encrypted in a planet, is because that planet is very powerful, So anyway, here you see the planet with the rings, and then you have this snake coming through it, which can be Hydra, or Eridanus, because of course what we know right now and what we relate to very specific constellations, they would relate it to another animals. For instance, what we know today as Hydra is a snake. What we know as yet Eridanus is also a constellation that could be a snake, and it's not considered as a snake, but perhaps they did. So, but it's showing this huge and long snake, which the pattern is quite connected with what I would call as Eridanus. So of course, it's showing at a very specific cycle, and also bringing a lot of codes, because we know that through interdimensional travel, we can access to that moment in which they were witnessing, and the purpose of why they did this. In the inside, it has very specific symbols that can again be activated in very specific combinations for different purposes. Where do you want to travel to? And here it has a winged being, again elongated skull with a scepter, holding a scepter and holding a pine cone. This you will see it oftenly, the pine cone, these beings holding the pine cone. We normally relate this, as we know, to the pineal gland because it has the shape of a pine cone. And we can also, as Mike was mentioning yesterday, to the seeds. We could even relate it to the seeds. So, but anyhow, what I'm tuning into, I'm going to describe first. Here there is another being, winged being. Here.
It's a little, we can't see it. I don't think it's clear on the screen. If you pull it towards you a little bit, maybe we might be able to get a glimpse of it. Yeah, just slide it over. Yeah, it's difficult. I don't see it clear, but I see some of it.
Me
the
neither.
engraving.
Me neither.
Yeah,
We need to clean it because it has still a lot of dirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, here is a winged being. Here there is a.
Okay.
Here there is a spaceship.
Wow, that's amazing. Yssah and Sean, we need to do a part 2 on this. You guys have too much to try and do in one show. And there's so much to decipher from it.
Yes,
I mean,
definitely.
even if we just look at just the engravings on these artifacts and, dive
Gustavo's
into that.
people want you back, huh?
Yeah.
They want you back to help them find more artifacts, I would imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, Sean's very gifted in that way. So is Yssah.
Yes.
They both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
I
Now
don't
that
think
looks
you were with us,
Babylonian,
Brian, at
Sumerian
one
right
time,
there.
Exactly. This is a Babylonian, Sumerian, what we would know as Sumerian, which is kind of related to the Anuna. And it has an elongated skull, wings, and it's holding the portal, actually. And
all these beings are holding the
they're
portal, so they're like empowering it.
Yeah.
Yes, so there are different races, and this is a gene, like the one that we were talking. I don't think it's mare
I think
because
it means spirit form, like a higher dimensional being of some type.
well,
Higher dimensional forms.
Where do you think the connection with
ether?
where do you think the connection with Mexico and Egypt? Where do you guys see that connection? Like, yeah, I love her.
Go ahead.
Well, well, I do. What I do to tune into is that, of course, all of these pieces are way before what we know as the Mayan and as the Toltec and Aztecs and so forth. They were just sitting different places all over the planet, and grounding and anchoring very specific information, and then all of this information was handed into the humans that started inhabiting those places. And of course, this was in the beginning, and then they started to interact also, these species, with the humans. That's why we can see very ancient-like pieces as well as Sumerian. And I could even say that I have another information that I'm tuning into, but this is way going deep into how this artificial matrix is created, because imagine that you have like core information, the one that you use to create this program, and then you just replicate it, boom, 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 boom. And then you start to manifest it, to materialize it from the holographic field all the way to this field. And as soon as you materialize it, then it starts to beam and then starts to create a grid, which continues to replicate and expand all this information. So, but then again, I'm going all the way when this artificial matrix was created. So, yeah. Just by being here, I'm telling you guys, I'm already zoom. I don't even want to cross my head.
Yeah, a lot of these civilizations are like Atlantean, and beyond, and the Atlantis is a pan.
Well, so let me ask you.
And then after the fall, they reestablished themselves in Egypt and Mayan and other places, and those civilizations inherited their technology. And so a lot of this comes from that. And a lot of the, Atlantis is beyond just this planet into the solar system, and multiple races interacting with each other.
So are you guys, would you guys be open to doing a part 2? And maybe after, maybe in March or February or something, we could do a part 2, and maybe after you guys clean those up a little bit and see if we can get, some clear pictures to show to people, the engraving, and maybe have
more objects too. So
yes,
yeah.
Perhaps we will have more news. So.
Yeah. Are you
okay.
guys? Yeah. I can grab you and hug you and kiss you, Yssah. I love you. I
love you too.
I love you, honey. I'm so happy you guys have been gifted the opportunity to present this to humanity, right? I think it's always a gift, especially when we're finding things like these types of artifacts that are, how many people, myself, I'm sure Brian, we would love the opportunity to be able to dig and find these things, but it was bestowed to you guys, and you're doing a great job, and thank you. I want to say thank you. Yeah.
Come on down to Mexico.
I'm going to come over and help. I don't know. Maybe I'll find I don't know.
Brian, you ever want to cross off your bucket list for digging ancient ET artifacts? Let us know.
We will be your
guide. We should meet up in Mexico and then record the entire thing. Yeah, your dowsing rods. That's what I was going to ask y'all. I'm wondering, but you're so tuned in, both of you. I mean, did you even consider that maybe using dowsing rods or a pendulum might help? Yeah.
Yeah, we use the pendulum there. Yeah. Dowsing rods will pick up electromagnetics, and they emit electromagnetics, so more than other things. So you can definitely use them for that.
I haven't seen yours.
Yeah, we got.
I am going to call in right now and get a clear yes or no answer. Is this information that we're sharing? Is it true? Yes. I didn't do anything. That's a yes. I'm very good with dowsing rods, by the way. And I don't even have to.
You have to come here.
Yes. Okay. I will come. And by the way, you mentioned the drum. The drum is the most ancient instrument, if you want to call it, on the planet that really can open up. What? I know. Sean, let me take a picture of you guys just like that. Hold on. Stay right there. I love it. I'm going to post it. Hold on. Camera. We're having fun, guys. It's been a fantastic show. Oh, I love it. Yeah. You're going to love it too. Yeah. Yeah. I'll send it to y'all. Let me take one more just real quick. All right. One more time.
Yeah, everyone come take pictures with us in person this July in Florida, and before that at the Team Light event in March.
Guys,
we will have a lot of fun.
Disclosure now. Early bird tickets. It's the time to purchase them, because at the end of the month we're going up. We're going to be putting the tickets at regular price. We have a great speaker lineup. We have amazing presenters. I mean, Sean and Yssah are going to be there. We have Johnny Enoch. We have Miles Johnson. We have so many amazing presenters. We're going to have great vendors. More than all of that, you come and get educated. You connect with Soul Family. You bring your energy, your love, your truth, and your true light, and engage. And, it's like we have to rise to the occasion, people. And this is an opportunity for all of us to come together and co-create, and collaborate and network and build and continue to grow this thing. That's the goal, right, Brian? Everybody is
Absolutely. We're
welcome.
growing a network. I mean, look at what with Sean and Yssah here. They met up with Gustavo and his
Yes.
people.
Sure.
And
Mike,
here we are.
he sent me some things on Messenger, which I will have a look at, which I'm very grateful. So shout out to Mike. I want to say thank you. Mike Forrest, is that who you guys were referring to? Is Mike
Yes.
Forrest? Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was very kind. Thank you, Mike. I will have a look. We are going to have to wrap things up. I have a meeting with our webmaster for the conference in 5 minutes, although I'm going to have to change it to 4:30 now. Jennifer, if you're watching, because I have to take prints out and stuff. But guys, everybody, both Yssah and Sean's contact information is in the description box. Sean does amazing readings and clearings and all kinds of good stuff. Reach out to him. His services are amazing. I have had several readings with Sean, and Sean has helped me tremendously, especially when I was going through a real heavy dark night of the soul, and he helped me to work through that and come out of it. And my life is so much better. Of course, I've reached out to other people too, but he had a huge impact on my life at that time when I was really having a tough time, having to face my own darkness. It was a tough time for me, but I'm truly grateful. I'm here and things have shifted quite a bit. So I'm grateful for that. So you can reach, and then Brian, his information for the full disclosure now. And of course, myself, I am part of the team. I am the co-producer with Brian Tseng, Brian Tseng is the executive producer. I am his co-producer, assistant / I do a lot of things, what I can to contribute. And there are others. We want you at the conference. Everybody, it's not about getting your money and making a bunch of money. It's about bringing our community together and celebrating life together and co-creating a new earth and educating ourselves, right?
Our conference is incredibly well priced. It's
yes.
Yeah. And then
so I need to say that Brian is not interested in making a bunch of money off of anybody. He's last year was very generous and put up a lot of money, and I'm not trying to, just take it for what it's worth. A lot of money was spent. He made very little back, and he's now doing it again. So please consider his kindness, his generosity. We need your support. And more than that, we want you there. We want you to be there with us. So share it out. Share this video out. Subscribe to my channel. Share out the website. Let people know that there's a place we can go and have fun at the Serrata Beach Resort. They're redoing it, by the way, right? And
they're under new ownership by a large hotel chain that's taking them over and renovating them. And our conference discount rate is locked in from before the hotel takeover. So we're getting an amazing deal in a renovated resort.
Yeah, awesome. and they're extending it out for the Day of Being. Let's not forget the Day of Being. Where
exactly. And not only are the days of the event covered for the conference discount, the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th, but also the Monday coming in, that's the 14th, and also that Saturday and Sunday, the 19th and 20th, they are also under the conference discount because our sister event, Day of Being 5.0, is that weekend, and the resort is happy to have more of us continue our stay with them during the weekend, and that's why we've got that discount for that Saturday and Sunday, which if I tried to sign that deal now after their new buyout, I probably wouldn't be able to get it. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So, thank you both for everything that you're putting together and offering.
Thank you for being here.
Because our pleasure. Our pleasure. Yes.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. And also, I saw a message from Johnny Enoch, I believe. Anybody that is a Robert Sphere fan or follower, he will be attending the conference. I'm hoping he does show up. We have
him and Nick at night as well.
Yeah. So there's going to be amazing people, an opportunity to network, meet some of the people that you've followed over the years, if I don't like to call followers, just people that you've appreciated their work, because I want you to follow yourself back to your own heart, but know that there is a place to come together and meet amazing people, and get expanded. You never know, you might get activated there. We all get activated. Actually, the energy is so amazing. There's like a huge activation taking place. And if you're anywhere around Sean Bond, you'll definitely get activated.
So Sean, everyone can find you at is it psionicleague.com is your website, right?
Yeah.
What is Yssah's website?
Yeah, Sonic League's right there. Unified Consciousness. Do you want to mention it real quick, and then I'll go into some?
It's okay. It's there, but it's
Okay.
not my website.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your website, Yssah?
My website is www.hunuh, slide in the middle.
HUNU. Who knew is HUNU?
All your stuff is in the description box, Yssah. I made sure I
Okay.
put that in, and
Okay.
Sean and you, Brian. So
Yeah,
people can
because the
find
name
you.
is kind of complex, but yeah,
Okay.
and I am very excited because by the time of the conference, I will already have my first book in English, so I will be bringing it to the conference.
Exciting! Wow,
Yes.
that's fantastic. I have half a book
So,
written
yeah,
that I still haven't finished, but I will one day. I love to hear
Yeah,
other
so-
writers, because I am a writer. Yeah, that's fantastic.
So
Good for you, Yssah.
everyone, come
I'll
on
definitely
to
buy
this
it when you release it. I'm sorry, Sean?
Yeah, so everyone come to this conference, get your psychic abilities activated, meet your soul family, meet friends, loved ones, love interests.
And
there'll
Brian's
be a lot
got
of
stuff going
ETs
on
that are
behind the
showing up
scenes
too.
that's he's not going to be announcing now, but possibly at the conference, right? We won't talk about that now, Brian.
Who?
Oh no, I've got big plans in the works, but I'll save that for later. I don't want
Yeah,
to
that's what I was
reveal. I can't
figured.
reveal too much yet.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, guys, I've got to get off because I've got to meet with Jennifer to go over some stuff about the conference and stuff. I love you guys. I love you all. Thank you guys, everyone that joined. Please subscribe to my channel. Share it out, and then we will have a part 2 in February. We'll bring Yssah and Sean and Brian back on, and we will have a deeper discussion on. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. On the symbolism that's actually on the artifacts. That's what I want to talk about, like the different carvings and pictures. If we could see them more up close, and maybe see if we can figure out, if there's a special message for everybody that's going to be watching, that'll be lovely. You guys go check out Sean Bond, Yssah, and Brian Tseng, and thank you for joining us. And we are going to.
Awesome.
It's a pipe.
We are going.
I thought that was a pipe. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Awesome.
Haven't smoked out of it yet, but that's what it
Lucky
is.
you. Yeah.
All right, guys, have a fantastic day.
Thanks for having me.